Hello, everybody, and welcome into Tuesday Night Thunder Season 4. And we've got the season opener for you here tonight, kicking things off, at Talladega Superspeedway with none other than Dawson Wise, co-host again. We had him last season. We're bringing him back again this season. Dawson, we got a good race in store tonight, a great season on hand. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and yeah, we do have a great season on hand, man. I love Tuesday Night Thunder. It's one of my favorite series that we get up here and call, so I can't wait. I've been excited for this one for a while. I'm glad to be back.
Absolutely. Well, with that knowledge, let's jump right into your starting grid here on the night and get rolling. Taking the pole, it's going to be Matthew Baker in the 5 machine. On his outside, it'll be Jeff Merck in the 60. That's 2 NBG teammates lined up 1-2. Row number 2, going to be Logan York for Blind Squirrel Racing. To his outside, Matt Lee in the 04. Ken McCullough Jr. in 5th. Jason Maines in 6th. David Sheets back in 7th with J.R. Miller in 8th. John Mullihan in 9th. And Trevor Osranoff for KSR, rounding out your top 10.
The boss man at PGR, Michael Triscaro, will roll from 11th tonight with Jason Kelly, a newcomer to his outside in the 23 and 12th. It'll be Team PGR's Brock Westmoreland starting from 13th with McCullough Motorsports entry Mark Vondell from 14th. A pair of newcomers on row number 8 will be William Schwindenhammer and Jared Haynes in the 7. Row 9 in 17th will be David Drohan. To his outside will be Tucker McClendon in the 27. Last 2 cars in the top 20, Nash Brambilla for PGR and Chris McCullough.
3 more guys rounding out the field. It's Tony Cox in 21st, Steve Sizemore 22nd, and Jimmy Emos. Good to see him making a return tonight. He will roll off 23rd. All right, let's get into your race info before we go any further here. Again, Tuesday Night Thunder. We've already had 3 successful seasons, so why not bring it back for Season 4? Love the setup, love the design. We're going to talk more about that as we get through the race as well. But weather outside here today at Talladega Superspeedway, 78 degrees, 45% humidity, cloudy skies, 2 miles an hour. It is, winds at 2 miles an hour. It is race number 1 of the season, and we are back in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Going to be the plan to stay in these at least most of the season with the way things are set up right now. 60 laps to scheduled distance here tonight. 40% fuel for everybody. Unlimited tires. You do have that one fast spare in your pocket. Fixed setups as always, and a stage break at the end of lap number 20. Talladega Superspeedway, 2.65 miles in length. And track temp tonight, Dawson, toasty 100 degrees. And, you know, it's been a little while since we've been in the Xfinity cars, and they're a little bit darty, so it's going to be interesting to see how quickly everybody's able to adjust to them tonight. But, man, I can't wait. It's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one. I love these cars. I love this combo. It's my favorite to drive, and it was my favorite to watch last season when we got into a groove in these cars. These guys really put on a heck of a show, so I can't wait to see what they got in store for us this season as we get kicked off here for season number 4, and we crown a brand new champion in Ron Morse Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder. And, man, I can't wait. Pair of teammates on the front row. Here we go.
All right, lining up. Pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn for the first time here on the night. Again, that stage break on the end of lap 20, at the end of lap 20, rather. That's going to call for a lot of aggressive racing here right out of the gate. Everybody's antsy. Everybody's ready to go, and so are we. Thank you so much for joining us here on the PGR eSports Racing Network. Boy, it is going to be an exciting one. First broadcast here. First race back. Here we go. Rolling into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air at Talladega.
On to the Alabama gang super stretch for the first time on lap number 1. Matthew Baker had the lead for a moment, but Jeff Merck for NBG up on the outside. He's going to surge to the lead with the help of his teammate Matt Lee in the 04. Drops down across the bottom to the help of Matthew Baker. Up top now Lee along with Jason Maines. And how about Team PGR's J.R. Miller up in the third in the outside line, followed by Trevor Osranoff in the 89. How about the 89 for the KSR group making a showing here tonight?
Yeah, and similar to what we see over on the Thursday races at PGR, Dawson, is you get the mix of field. I mean, we know that just the other night, of course, you were broadcasting the Little Guy Series, and we have some of the normal drivers from that tonight, but more importantly, the man that I'm keeping an eye on is Brock Westmoreland in the 4. He's got some momentum after he got the win last night in the Truck Series. Now, of course, the Xfinity car a lot different, but how about up front? Rolling right now is NBG Motorsports. The trio of teammates leading the way, one on the inside, two on the outside. Logan York doing all he can, pushing on the inside, and now about 3 wide down the back straightaway. Brock Westmoreland going to duck out of line. He'll get help from his teammates J.R. Miller and Michael Triscaro.
Yeah, it's the PGR contingent up on the outside line. Aggression early from those three. No surprise. I mean, we saw Westmoreland and Miller have success in the Little Guys Series. Back-to-back winners in that series the last 2 weeks. So no surprise those guys are all up on the wheel early. They've got some help coming even behind them as well. Looks like the 23, the newcomer Jason Kelly, trying to dip his feet in the water for the first time. But up front, still all NBG. Merck leads again. He's led all 3 laps so far.
And how about this? Matthew Baker, who currently sits in second. I mean, they're just controlling the lanes right now, so you might as well just call NBG Motorsports the leader for the moment. But from what we heard in Discord, he actually had to go to the hospital this morning, wasn't feeling well, and he's still out here. I mean, he looks like he's doing pretty good as it stands right now, running second on the inside. But again, he's going to be enduring a little bit of sickness here tonight, so wish for him to get better. But man, putting on a great run, at least at the moment. The outside now rolling as Matt Lee will get clear. That puts NVG 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. Jason Maines in the middle with Trevor Ostronoff in tow. John Mullahan as well. And then the 78 of J.R. Miller now all by himself up top. Looks like they're going to duck back down in line. Top not really rolling right now.
Yeah, the bottom's the place to be, and this was the story of last season, I think, too. In several of these races, with the track tip a little bit higher, the bottom really became the place to be, at least early in the race, and it took a long line of cars to get the top line rolling. So far, that's the story as well here tonight. Jason Maines, one of our playoff drivers from last season, now leads the top. He's got Ostronoff and John Mullahan in tow. First time we're talking about the 6 car tonight, third in the outside line, but not third for very long because Merck jumps right back out. He wants to lead again, halfway down the backstretch, move the 60 back to the lead. He looks good so far.
Certainly does, and you know what else is looking good is that 34 car on the outside. Michael Triscaro trying to get something going here with his 2 teammates, J.R. Miller, Brock Westmoreland. But you know, it's interesting because I know I said the track temp a little bit toasty again at 100 degrees, so it's certainly not a cold track temp, but you know, the warmer that track temp gets, the easier it is to get that outside rolling. But the difference with these Xfinity cars versus what we're used to seeing so much in money racing, Dawson, with the trucks is the tires, they wear out, and you can certainly feel the difference in these Xfinity cars as you go through a run. So I don't know if it's going to matter too much in this first stage with only 20 laps of green flag racing, but certainly got to think each lap that goes by, that top lane's going to start to roll a little bit more and more. And now that they got help from a 4th car, Nasper and Bill in the 24, they've been able to draw even with your leaders. You got PGR leading the top, NBG leading the bottom, and then some of the independent guys all linked up in the middle, 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Man, PGR so aggressive early. They are rolling here to the front. Triscaro wanted to go early. Stuck the nose out really early in this race. Now gets his teammates in behind him. All 3 of the PGR cars in tow behind the team owner. Really strong showing from them so far as they fade just a little here off turn number 4. But again, I think like you said, they're just trying to roll that top lane, get it working. Get the track to change maybe a little bit here as the race goes on. Get that top line to get some more energy in it going forward, but only as far as they could get was the 3rd row up on the outside of Trevor Ostronoff. So we'll see now if they bail back in, and they do. Merck is clear, so is Matt Lee, and Matt Baker is 3rd. NBG, the class of the field so far.
Speaking of Matthew Baker, we just took a ride on board there real quick. Got to see what things were looking like from both the virtual cockpit and the real-life cockpit for Matthew Baker as he again continues to roll 3rd on the inside. Top lane now starting to fade just a little bit there, and you saw part of the reason for that may have been because Nasper Miller jumped back down behind Logan York. Those 2 ex-teammates, something new that we learned last night. But the other thing that I'm kind of keeping an eye on right now is fuel strategy, right? I mean, 40% fuel in these cars, if we had to guess, I think that's somewhere maybe just short, maybe around 20. It's not quite 20 laps. That's my point here, Dawson. And so I think we're expecting a green flag pit stop here in this stage. Question is going to be what team goes first and who follows.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious myself. I would not be surprised, though, based on the field strategy we've had the last 2 Mondays, if it's PGR that goes first. They went first last night. They went first a couple weeks ago as well. So I would not be surprised to see those 4 cars be the first ones to pit. They're usually the most aggressive on strategy. Almost trouble in the middle. Osborne and Triscaro came together. Not sure what happened there on the backstretch. Luckily, everybody keeps it going straight, and that's a credit to these Xfinity cars. A little bit harder to get out of shape. They're a little bit more like tanks when you try to run them. So luckily, no harm, no no foul. They're off turn number 4.
Yeah, they certainly are, and at the same time, I mean, on the other end of the spectrum, they require a little bit more delicate pushing. We saw a lot last season. Guys talk about you get a little bit offset to the left, and not like the trucks where it'll just be a little wiggle. You can get that guy fully turned around even when you think you're squared up, so kind of that delicate balance. You got to ease onto the guy's bumper, but then as you noted, once you get there, these things are like tanks. You can push just about as hard as you want, at least down the straightaway. Pushing the corner, a little bit of a different story, but we've already seen our fair share of that tonight, and I think we're going to see even more of that as the race continues to go on. 187 miles an hour down the back for the inside. Jason Maines in the middle, though, showing you the speed these Xfinity cars can get up to, about 191. And those speeds, I think, are going to pick up again as the day continues to go on here. And by day, I mean, of course, in sim time, because we did take a look at the weather just before the race got started. Looks like it actually is frozen, so daytime not going to change, and track temp not going to change either. Sitting at 100 degrees when we started, and nothing has changed with that there. So up front, now 2x2 as the third lane fades yet again. And how about only 3 cars in the middle still hanging strong with the 6-7 that we've got lined up on the bottom?
Because look at the 2 cars behind Jason Maines in the middle. It's Trevor Osroth, one of the most aggressive pushers in the field, and then arguably the most aggressive pusher in the field, Logan York, is third in line in the 0-2. So no surprise, the middle is the place to be. Those 2 cars very strong, and you see now PGR boys going to give up the fight for now. They're going to drop in line, all file in behind one another, and try to work their way to this first pit stop. It was a good feeler, though. That was a good test run. That's all they wanted to do right there, is get a test run. Can we run the third lane? It is definitely going to be viable later in the race. So good information there for those guys, and they will try to continue to work their way forward. They're actually only going to be about 4th, 5th, and 6th in line. Here's they come out 4. Still Jason Maines side by side with Merck, but not for long. How about the push by Lee on the bottom? Jeff Merck, I'll tell you what, don't want to say this too early. The 60 really looking sporty on lap number 9.
Yeah, he certainly is. And once they got back down to 2x2, see NBG going right back to their bread and butter style of racing there with just controlling the lanes, managing the 10th. You got Lee still leading the bottom, Merck up top. Jason now falls in line as the lead pusher. Trevor Osroth, Logan York, and J.R. Miller tucked up in line as well. And then you see further back Tucker McClendon starting to make his way through the field. That is one of Logan York's teammates. So if they can get up there, maybe they can make something happen. A couple, maybe more than just a couple new guys in the field here tonight, Dawson, that we're excited about. By the way, quick update on some of the drivers running further towards the back of the field here. We'll pull up the track map. Jimmy Emos, not sure what happened here, if you maybe missed the start, but the 98 right now nowhere near the lead pack. In fact, almost 3/4 of the track behind, so he may be in danger here of going a lap down. As a little bit all over the place right now, as I think he's still maybe trying to get a feel for these Xfinity cars. Mark Vondell right now rounding out the back of the pack, the lead lap pack that is. That is one of the McCullough Motorsports drivers, but here we go. Let's talk about some of the newer drivers. David Drohan, I feel like we've seen him a couple times on the scene. Not sure if this was his first start in this series. Now, Jason Kelly, I can tell you for sure, this is one of the new drivers making his first start tonight. He's got a decent run going right now. He sits in 18th, but qualified up in 12th. Gerard Haynes in the 7th spot. I believe it's actually Jared. I apologize. Nash Brambilla back up in 16th. And then, Dawson, you tried to pronounce this name, and I'm glad you did, because I certainly don't think I'm going to get it right. William Schwindenhammer in the 17 machine, the driver out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. He's got a pretty good run going right now. Steve Sizemore, we've seen him a little bit before. But no surprise to see all the cream of the crop. The top is here we go. Pit stops underway. First group of the night. As looks like a couple bailed out. And David Sheets with a big lockup. Ken McCullough Jr. He's going to lock it up as well, as they just hit the commitment cone. And I know we didn't get a chance to say it before they ended up making the stop. But, I mean, Dawson, these cars are a lot harder to get down the pit speed and even trickier to get off. So good job to see the first round of pit stops go as clean as they did.
They don't turn quite as well as the trucks or the next-gen cars. They're a lot harder to get slowed down, and then when you get them slowed down, a lot harder to turn, get them left and right maneuver onto pit road, which can be tough in some of these bigger fields. Luckily, you bail out about 6 cars now. It's going to make it a little bit easier on this next group to come down pit road. We'll see who that is right here. Jason Maines, Trevor Osroth stuck up on the outside line. Neither of them has found a slot in, so we'll see if maybe that potentially hurts them here on this second round of pit stops. Off 4. No takers, so it doesn't hurt them for now. This group going to continue to run long. Wonder if that was maybe a short pit strategy perhaps by the McCullough group to try to short pit the stage, maybe flip some track position when we get there. Baker's
going to jump to the outside right here, so that almost makes you think that MBG's not planning to pit yet. And again, we think maybe right around somewhere between 15 to 17 laps on fuel is probably the most they can go at 40%. So definitely gonna have to bring it in here in the next 2 to 3 laps. It'll be interesting to see if Baker's just trying to shuffle to the front here, and if he doesn't, how does he get back in line? Because of course we know you really can't pit from the top. He's not gonna have to worry about it, as he does get clear cycles 10 to now. That leaves Jason Maines, Trevor Osroth, and Michael Troscaro all alone up top. And again, they're going to have to find their way to the bottom before we make the pit stop. You know, I say you can. I mean, you technically can do it, Dawson, but boy, it runs a lot of risk when you try to pit from the top. And, you know, who knows? Maybe what we're seeing here is NBG maybe going to try to run that top lane out of fuel and force them to drop to the back and drop in line for this first pit stop.
Yeah, they might have to go up and around. I would not be surprised. Now, I will say, full transparency, I did try to pit from the top in my league race last night. Did not go as well as I had planned. So you can do it. It does not always work. In fact, it rarely ever works. So I would not recommend that these guys try it. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll have to. Whoa, squirrely. Matt Lee was out of shape. Brock Westmoreland's out of shape. Not sure what happened there on the backstretch. Weird moment for several cars there. I think Matt Lee might be trying to give Trevor Osmond the gap. He does. Perhaps that was the stack up. Logan York missed the memo a little bit. Only 2 cars on the outside, Triscaro and Jason Maines. And as this group comes off of turn number 4, we'll see if they pit right here and enter into our second cycle of pit stops off the banking onto the front stretch. And again, no takers. So they're going to run it all the way to the window, it looks like.
Yeah, and that's where it's just, I mean, really a battle of lap times. Who can run faster? So we'll go back and look at this gap. Haven't been keeping too big of an eye. I mean, we just saw 3 of the rookie drivers all come down to the pits together. Unfortunately, they're not quite going to exit that way. Jason Kelly was one of them. And then William Schwindenhammer along with Jared Hayes. Those 2 came down to the pits. Christopher McCullough going by again. Things still cycling through is up front. 3 wide there for just a moment as they're going to go around one of the lappers. That's the 42 of David Drohan. And so he's going to need a break here, probably in the form of a caution. We'll see if we see a pit stop this time. But, man, oh, man, you talk about Trevor Osmond being able to slide into that gap that Matt Lee left. But, you know, I don't think Matt Lee's going to leave a gap for every single one of these guys. So, again, if you're Jason Maines or Michael Triscaro, you really got to be thinking here, what do you want to do? You certainly don't want to get left out. As the only 2 cars here, so we're going to see a couple more fade low below the apron. It looks like it's going to be a couple of the Team PGR drivers here. Brock Westerland was one of them, and Steve Sizemore the other. Lock up for both of those drivers, but again, looks like they're going to get in here pretty clean.
Yeah, interesting. Now Matt Lee jumps to the outside and takes Logan York with him. This is a weird look as now, well, York dives back to the inside. But now another 3-car group up on the outside line. Again, we're awfully close to the pit window here. I mean, we're dangerously close to it now. So if you're Matt Lee going up there to try to get those guys down, I understand the thought process, but don't get yourself stuck in the process. That gap has closed, and Matt Lee, well, he might have just taken himself out of contention of pitting with this lead group. They pit here off turn number 4. We'll have to wait and see. Still 2x2 up front. Another lap goes by. Let's see if we have any takers this time by on pit road. We do. Osbornoff, Baker, Merck, and several others. And they are going to pit from the top lane. Maines, Triscaro, and Lee all come off the top and onto the pit lane.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I know we say they can't, but I think they're going to have to here without any choice because it's lap 16 coming to lap 17 here. So they do indeed bring it down to the pits. Jason Maines leads them in. Matthew Baker, Michael Triscaro follow. So, I mean, all in all, really nice job by those guys to get down from the top lane to the bottom and still make that stop in a reasonable manner. And now it's the race off of pit road, and we'll pull up the track map to show you where that second group is, which is mostly, again, McCullough Motorsports drivers back in 11th right now, and leading that line is John Mullahan. Here they come roaring off of turn 4. If we go to the pit lane cam, you're going to see him enter the tribal here in just a moment. And as they roar through the tribal, I think they're going to catch here Dawson, but I think the big winner is the guys that pitted late because, of course, now later in this, or excuse me, at the end of the stage here, they're going to have to take less fuel, so they'll be able to keep their track position, but also at the same time, they didn't get, or they got far enough out where I don't know if they're going to have to worry about getting passed here by the lead group, or the second group, even though I think they're going to catch them.
That group of 3 is going to bypass Jeff Merck and J.R. Miller, who are about a second and a half, a little less than a second and a half off the back end of this group of 5 here at the front of the field. They're coming with a head of steam, but they're still a second back. I mean, they're a ways back here still. They got some work to do here with about 4 laps to go in the stage. It's really close to the stage. They got to get on their horse and go. Now, they will get there. You see Mullahan going to the back, but great stop by these top 5.
Yeah, it certainly was. And now they're going to have a big enough run here to try to make a move. Question is, do we see anybody try to go up and block? And in fact, right now you got about 2 to 4 different packs. Now starting to merge back into one, make it 2 packs in total. So we'll see if these guys start to get racy and if that pulls up any more cars into the mix. But overall, I mean, how about that for the first round of pit stops in, you know, well over a couple months that RMR's been taking a break, and everybody's still looking like veterans and everybody getting the job done nice and smooth. Again, that stage going to be at the end of lap 20. Ooh, I think York may have gave Michael Triscaro a little help there as he had to jump out of line. And that second group going to have to try to hold off John Mullahan and company, but they were able to do that. I was thinking more or less that they were going to have to worry about Jeff Merck, J.R. Miller, but no real moves being made as they did a good job kind of doing damage control and keeping anybody in that second run. Oh my goodness, York with a big moment. They're out of shape, got in Michael Triscaro, but wow, what a close call that was off turn number 4.
Matthew Baker was sideways there in the trial. Well, he was all the way around and got it wound back straight. I have no idea how he got that car straight. Michael Triscaro drops down in front of him. Huge moment there for Matthew Baker.
Certainly was. The 34, Michael Triscaro, now leading the bottom. And this next lap will be coming to the white flag. So this is where, again, you got teammates and maybe you're trying to work with them, but at the end of the day, there's stage points on the line right here. And we know how close the points battles come down every single season, Dawson. We've seen it time and time again. So you got to fight for every point you can get. And starting off strong early is the best way to do it. 3 on the bottom, 5 up in the middle, and 2 up top. That is Michael Triscaro, who currently leads the middle, doing a lot of controlling right here. He's got to watch out for the bottom. Baker's got to run back as Tucker McClendon's going to pull off the track. Into the trial will they come. This will be taking the white flag in stage number 1. Who's going to get it?
Great racing so far in stage 1. Here comes the third lane with Jeff Merck, J.R. Miller, and David Sheets up on the outside safer barrier. They just can't get any further than the quarter panel of Matt Lee in the 04. That's as close as they can get to the leaders. We'll see if they get a roll here down the Alabama Gang super stretch. Triscaro continued to lead for a moment, but now the push comes to the bottom. John Mullahan shoves Matthew Baker out front, and all of a sudden, halfway down the back, headed for 3. We are 3 wide, 2, making 3 rows deep.
Well, you can certainly tell that the tires are starting to wear out. I mean, these guys are fishtailing all over the place. How about David Sheets now up in the mix, third car on the outside? He may be all Jeff Merck needs right here at a chance to steal the stage win. But 3x3 coming off of turn number 4. This will be coming all the way to the green-white checkered for the stage. Merck on the outside, Triscaro in the middle, Baker on the bottom. We're going to get a photo finish for stage number 1, side by side. It's going to go 2. Looks like Jeff Merck in the 60 on the outside steals it. They got help from one more car at the end. It was Logan York, and that was all they needed. Boy, what a finish to stage number 1.
Great stuff there in stage 1. I mean, these guys haven't missed a beat, seems like. The guys that were here last season, right back to it here after several weeks off. They come back into these Xfinity cars, and they put on a show in stage 1. Great stuff there for the outside line. I thought they were maybe dead in the water on the backstretch, but man, what a run there into turns 3 and 4. They got one last extra car to help them go forward, and man, again, I said it earlier, I've said it a couple times, what a start for Jeff Merck.
And going back and taking another look at this one, because it was a photo finish to say the least. I mean, look how close these guys were at the line. And this, again, I think this honestly all is a form of course, David Sheets jumping up, and then Logan York was kind of the final factor in this equation to allow Jeff Merck. I mean, he already had momentum, and he was just more or less able to keep the momentum long enough here to get the job done. Watch this here from the restart cam. This will give us the closest view, 3x3. And, I know they were fishtailing, but all in all, Dawson, still everybody giving each other space. And this just came down to a good old-fashioned who could push the hardest. And the outside, boy, it was not by much, probably about the length of his hood for Jeff Merck. That's how much he gets the stage victory by. And then there you see Michael Triscaro in the middle, Matthew Baker on the bottom. I think Baker pulled second here. And I think Triscaro rounds out your top 3. A close finish, a great finish it was. Oh, my goodness. All right, so as we go back live here, again, 22 laps complete. It's the end of stage number 1. Want to give a quick shout out to everybody tuning in here tonight. First race that we have hosted here broadcasting-wise on PGR eSports YouTube. So if you're new here, you know us from Ghost Racing Network. Make sure you hit that follow button, subscribe button. We'd certainly appreciate that. And bit of a new thing starting here tonight, Dawson. You're going to see both of us a lot more on the scene here, broadcasting a bunch of different leagues. But, of course, it all gets started with the RMR tonight. And now the PGR races will be on this network along with Superspeedway Kings on Friday as here comes the field down to the pits. But, I mean, exciting times as PGR trying to expand. They got the website coming out here in just a few days. So definitely a good time to get a part of PGR in terms of whether the broadcasting side, the racing side, or anything in between. And excited to be a part of it.
Oh, there's so much exciting stuff going on. It's kind of all come together after months of work, really, by several people, but it's kind of all come together really quickly to what we've got today. So, going to be a lot of fun. I know my series on Monday that I myself and Baker call, the Little Guy series, is also going to be moving over here to this network as well. So, great stuff. A lot of cool content coming out. We're going to be racing basically 5 days a week here on this network. It's going to be really awesome, and we got some big things coming, big plans in the works.
Yeah, the big events, including the PGR SummerSlam. We're waiting for that one. And then, of course, the PGR 500, which will be coming later next year, right around the time that the Podium 500 was last year. Looking forward to that as well. How about the podcast, too? I mean, they've got some big names hopping on over there. Matt Tift, he will be joining eventually, just a matter of time, but they've got that in the works. So we'll leave it with that for now as everybody works their way back out of the pits. John Mullihan, Trevor Osbornoff, J.R. Miller, and Brock Westmoreland, your top 4. Matthew Baker rounding out the top 5, as it looks like Tucker McClendon here looking to get a lap back here. He's hoping that he can get the wave around. And as he does so, and as we get geared up and get ready to go back to green flag racing, we are going to take our first break tonight. We'll go side by side so you don't miss the thing. Stick with us at Talladega. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, Tuesday Night Thunder, live at the high banks right now and getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Stage 1 complete. What a race it was, and what a race we're getting ready to see here as it looks like it's going to be 35 laps to go, make it 36 when they take the green flag right here up front. John Mullihan, Trevor Osbornoff, row 2, J.R. Miller and Brock Westmoreland, and row number 3, Matthew Baker and Jeff Merck.
Yeah, exciting stuff there in stage number 1. Can only imagine that the rest of this race is going to be just as exciting. A pit stop still to go in this race at some point in this last run. Here we go. Stage 2 underway. First night of season 4 of Tuesday Night Thunder. Green flag is back in the air, and off we go towards turn number 1. And a disorganized start both ways here. J.R. Miller did not get going on the bottom. Westmoreland did up top, and as such, here comes Trevor Osbornoff for KSR. Flexing some muscle here going to the lead in turn 1.
2 by 2. Everybody's still getting up to speed, and it's going to take them a minute, but right now the pack all back together. As we saw in the chat, Tony Cox actually reporting what happened to him. Says, oh, look, there's my name at the bottom. Stupid wheel jacked up and couldn't make it. Tough break for the 72. Hate to not see you being able to make it out here tonight, but we appreciate the update. Still 2 by 2 down the back, but Trevor's going to get clear. I think he was maybe thinking about bringing Brock with him, but that didn't last for long as the inside started to roll back, courtesy of J.R. Miller pushing on the back bumper of John Mullihan. 2 by 2 through turns 3 and 4. Westmoreland still on the outside. And again, I know we talked about it at the tip of the broadcast, but remember, he got a win last night. Same track, just different car. Of course, we were in the trucks, but point is, he knows the moves that he needs to make, and he knows the lines he needs to try to work with. And right now, him and Jeff Merck are doing a great job. And how about one of the rookies, Dawson? William Schwindenhammer on the outside in the 17. He is up 9 positions where he started this race at, currently in 6th and battling for the top 5.
And a slick-looking paint, too. The Air Force colors aboard that number 17 Super up on the outside, third in line. Looking good so far. He, again, is kind of dipping his feet in. We saw Jason Kelly doing it earlier. Now Schwindenhammer says, all right, I'm pretty confident now. I've run around these guys for 25 laps. I'm going to go up there and get in the middle of this. And he's got Jared Haynes in behind him. So a few of the rookies coming to the front here. Some of the newcomers, they're ready to fight with the big dogs here at the front. Oh, man, way offset was Brock Westerlund from Osborne out there. Luckily, avoid disaster off four, but it allows John Mullihan to go back to the lead on the bottom.
Here we go, 3 wide. Jeff Merck going to take a peek to the outside. And, you know, you're mentioning the rookies, Dawson. We say it all the time. The best way to get better at these tracks as a rookie is you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Now, I know maybe 3 wide here this early on in the second stage isn't the place that William wants to be at, but it's a good learning experience. He's going to find some things with the way the draft works, which lanes move, when they move, how they move. And I'm telling you, watch for the 17 to be a threat, not only at the end of this race, but the rest of the season, especially if he keeps things up right now. And I mean, 3x3 down the backstretch, and a little surprised to see it because now as they settle in, you know, we went back green with, what was, I believe, 26 laps to go, or excuse me, 36 laps to go, I apologize. So, you know, that's right around the borderline of, can they make it in one stop, or are they going to have to do 2? It's going to be really close. If you save enough, I mean, if you figure if you make it 18 and 18, you'd be able to make it, but man, that's still saving, I believe, at least 2, maybe 2.5 laps. You're going to have to sit pretty far back in the draft, and it doesn't look like anybody's doing that right now.
It's a big ask, especially the way these guys are driving here at the front of the field. I just don't see them saving 2 laps apiece on each of the next 2 runs. I don't see it. I imagine it will still be 2 stops at least for the moment. J.R. Miller, big move out of the PGR driver, the bright blue Ford Mustang up to the outside in front of the 4 of Brock Westerlund. As they try to come forward here, they bring with them William Schwindenhammer, who's hanging tough in the middle of that 3 wide. Him and Jared Haynes both really smooth for being in 3 wide here. Their first start in Tuesday Night Thunder. They are thrown in the fire right in the hornet's nest, but doing good so far. Merck to the outside now. Mullihan back to the lead. Third line really fading behind Trevor Osborne on 3-4.
Yeah, Trevor and Logan falling just because they don't have that third car for the aero support. And you see Christopher McCall, David Drohan trying to make something work, but again, they just don't have enough suck up, at least not yet. It's going to probably take a couple more guys, maybe a couple of those rookies who are lined up right now behind William Schwindenhammer to jump out as well. But as everybody continues to stay tucked in line, the 3x3 fades to 2x2, at least for the first 2 rows. After that, though, now looks like things start to stall out. Maybe the top starts to get back rolling as the middle start to run out of temps just for the moment. But Brock quickly going to give the aid back to his teammate there, J.R. Miller. And on the bottom, you got 3 cars tightly lined up. Matthew Baker, third in line. John Mullihan, second. And then Jeff Merck still leading this lane. By the way, next pit stop, expecting, based on the fact that these guys could go initially 16 to 17 laps pushing it. You know, you save enough, Dawson. I mean, what do you think here? Do you do this? Do you do a fuel strategy game, or do you just fight for the track position and assume we're going to have a caution before this thing's all said and done?
I think it kind of depended on where you restarted. If you're a guy like Merck, Miller, Mullihan, Baker, Triscaro that's up here in the top 6 or so, or even the top 10, you know, I don't think fuel strategy's in their minds right now, obviously, the way they're racing. I don't think they're looking at their fuel gauge very much, whereas guys like maybe Nash Brambilla, Mark Von Dell, Jason Kelly, Jason Maines, guys like that, Katie McCullough, David Sheets, they can fully focus on fuel saving and let these guys burn fuel. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. Now, we'll see how it pans out for them running towards the tail end of this group. I still don't think you could save 2 to 2.5 laps. I think that's asking a little bit much on a full run. We'll have to wait and see. I don't see it, but that's what those guys are going to try towards the back.
Well, I'll tell you what they're doing up front. They're racing, and they're racing very, very aggressively. The 60 of Jeff Merck back to controlling the lanes. And, you know, we don't know this for sure, so don't quote me on it, but I have a feeling Merck may like these Xfinity cars a little bit better. Always seems to suit his style of racing a little bit more. Again, they require a little bit more finesse, a little bit more etiquette, if you will, racer's etiquette. And so Jeff Merck, again, showing that poise right now as he leads the bottom. Matthew Baker, third in line. Michael Triscaro, fourth in that line. And then Matt Lee has gotten buried all the way back fifth on the inside, so still plenty of time to make things up. But Merck going to jump back to the outside. J.R. Miller will tuck in behind his back bumper. How about a mix? Chevys, Fords, and Toyotas all inside your top 10 right now. Split them about even. Chevys with a slight advantage, but manufacturers, not really the big battle here tonight. More or less the teams in of themselves. And contrary to what we saw the first stage, none of the teams are really together right now. I mean, Baker and Merck not separated by much, but again, no real bumper-to-bumper action here for much, if any, of the teammates.
The only teammates I see here close to the front are J.R. Miller and Brock Westerlund there in the middle of the racetrack. You got the McCullough teammates at the tail end of this group. That, you're right, is about it. I mean, just not much teamwork help going really for anybody right here other than those PGR boys in the middle. And I'll tell you what, major props here to Brock Westerland because they have not really had much support behind them in that middle line as Schwindenhammer continues to get comfortable running in the middle of that 3 wide. And Westerland has kept JR, even with the leader, all the way through this run. I mean, an excellent job of pushing so far by the 4 car, and those two continue to work really well together, continue that momentum that those two have had over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, they certainly do. Osborne still up top as the 17, though, there. Saw William as he jumped to the bottom. That's going to open up a little bit of a gap for Osbornoff and York to fall in line. We'll see if they do or if they choose to stay to the outside. Looks like right now they're continuing to try to force the 3 wide. And it's quite awkward. I mean, I know you mentioned that Brock doing a great job, but, I mean, you just got kind of a big blob right here at the front. You got 2 in the middle and 2 on the outside. It's just a stalemate. But as soon as one of those lanes gets another car or two, I think you're going to see them roll. But right now, they're just going to continue to kind of trade momentum. And if nobody gets clear, it's just going to continue to keep things stalled out. Now that Jeff Merck jumps up to the middle, I think that's going to hurt the outside. As boy, Westerland had to, you saw the fire out of the pipes. He really had to bail out of the throttle. That was another close moment there off turn number 2.
Well, they don't really lose as much momentum as I expected them to. Osborne and York hanging tough up on the outside line, but now is when you'll start to see them fade with that 3rd car in the middle, and now here comes a 4th in the middle in the form of Jared Haynes in the 89, the AT&T Supra. Yep, no surprise, the top line is fading and fading in a hurry. Temps are running out aboard the Logan York machine, so they're going to have to find a spot in line or hope to get some more help. Just no company up there up on the outside line. Very lonely for those 2 cars right now. And that allows Jeff Merck, J.R. Miller, and Brock Westerland to pull back away and get back to 2 wide here, climbing the banking in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and I want to take a moment to kind of talk to the people who may be new to the series, new to the channel, how exactly this series works. Again, the name Tuesday Night Thunder, 4th season, so you knew something must be working right. 20 drivers here on the first race, a little bit more than that actually. So clearly everybody liked the format, and so Ron brought it back. Again, this may not be all the details, but the general idea here, you had to pay a charter if you were entering a team. Actually, all drivers, rather, had to pay a $10 charter, and then each race is a $25 entry. Now, each week, there is going to be a top 5 payout of about $450. That's based off 25 drivers, so going to be hanging right around that payout tonight, maybe coming in just a little bit short. And each week, there's going to be $125 that's going to be put towards a championship pot. And at the end of the season, we're going to have a couple of big payouts. First one's going to be, of course, for the regular season champion. So that means that each race, these guys are not only racing for money for placing the top 5, but they're also accumulating points, which you can, of course, get through things like winning the stage, leading some laps, stuff of that sort. And, oh, close call, 1 around. We're wrecking on the backstretch. Just 1 car for the moment, trying to find exactly who it was. I believe it was Jared Haynes. Huge hit to the inside wall as the 7 is destroyed. No caution as he's trying to get it back rolling. That's not going to be an option here. He's going to have to park it. That'll be a tow bill and his first fast pair, and only fast pair, rather, of the night gone here early. Let's go back and see exactly what happens here to Jared coming off of turn number 2. He got some help. And I'm just not sure exactly who it was from right here. We're going to slow this down and go to the aerial shot. And here you go. This is from the chopper view. Oh, that was another one of the rookies. I want to back that up one more time. And it looks like that was actually the 23 machine of Jason Kelly, who gets out of shape. And is York start coming down, or does the 23 start coming up here? Ooh, looks to me like York's coming down a little bit there, but I got to be honest, Dawson, it doesn't look like they ever necessarily touch. And, you know, it's a famous term, some people like, some people don't when we say it, but it looks like, ooh, no, Kelly actually darts up just a little bit right there. And then there's some net code. You wonder, I think that was a push gone, maybe a little bit sour from lead. No, he's not even on the bumper. Yeah, it's just Kelly drifts up a slight bit. Logan and Trevor already running pretty tight, and once he runs up there, again, maybe a little bit of net code, and once he gets back down the track, he gets into another one of the rookies. And this is the big shot here for Jared Haynes, who had nowhere to go, and boy, he definitely tagged that inside wall.
Yeah, tough break there for Jared Haynes, kind of right along the yellow line, and just unfortunate, innocent bystander there to another incident. To his outside trouble. Jeff Marcus around at the front of the field, but gets it back going. He was completely sideways, manages to get it back going, and will keep the trap there on the backstretch. Sorry to end my thought, but man, Jeff Merck, huge moment there from the lead all the way to the back, but luckily keeps the car clean. But no, an unfortunate deal for Jared Haynes. Now, the unfortunate bit really in all this, you did say he had a fast repair. I just double-checked. They do not not have one tonight. So tough break there. I'm not sure what went wrong. I know they were supposed to have one. They do not, so that will end the night for Jared Haynes.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate. Then again, pre-race info that we had was showing that they did, but boy, that might explain why the race has been as clean as it is tonight. Some guys love the no fast repair, though, so, I don't even want to call it really a learning experience. That's just overall a tough break for the rookie. He was doing such a good job here tonight. He was up there battling with the leaders for a little bit, chilling back in the pack, as you said, minding his own business along the yellow line, and just got the bad end of the spectrum in that one. Sometimes that happens, but boy, you talked about it, and what a save that was for Jeff Merck, and a big break it was too, because if he would have went around, that could have certainly ended his night. We do have a couple more guys in the pits right now, by the way. Jason Kelly went in, as did William Schwindenhammer, and this isn't quite at the window yet, so definitely seems a little early. Maybe it was. Here comes the rest of the field up front. Trevor Osmanoff will stay out, but leading him down looks like it's going to be Brock Westmoreland. And everybody going to get in pretty clean again. Oh, we got a spinner out back. I think that's Jimmy Emos. In the 98 it is. Emos is going to immediately tow. It looked like it was Emos. And that was just another incident of everybody trying to get into the pits. And yeah, that's going to be the 98 here. Watch this as they get in. He's hard on the brakes, The back tires start to slide out. He goes for a slide, but he doesn't hit the inside wall. So a little bit interesting there to see him tow. May have gotten a penalty anyway, though. So 98, tough break there. But that's for the rest of the field, Dawson. Yet again, another very clean sequence of pit stops.
Yeah, this kind of did not work out for Jeff Burke either. He's going to have to probably really push it here on pit entry to keep with this initial group. He's about half a second off. Here comes the next group. And the last group to come to pit road. They're going to be 3 by 3 here on the pit entry. And look at Jeff Merck. Oh, trouble. Osmanoff's around. He got tagged by Michael Triscaro and gets into the inside wall, and that's going to cost him a ton of time.
Yeah, I was in the same boat as you. I was watching Jeff Merck, who absolutely came flying in there and still got it down to speed. That was a beautiful execution there for Merck. But here you go, Osmanoff. You see there is a lot of bumps. Again, the further you go towards the inside wall here at this track, the more bumpy it is. And yeah, Michael Triscaro just getting in there a little bit too hot. He realizes it, locks up the brakes, but unfortunately just too late at that point. And Trevor Osmanoff, man, this was the case for him in the championship, the Little Guy Series last season, but I was unfortunately the man giving him the contact into the pits, and this time comes in the form of Michael Triscaro. So Osmanoff not too happy, but didn't look like, of course, obviously no ill intent there, just unfortunate circumstance. Everybody hard on the brakes trying to get in as quick as possible, and doesn't look like Triscaro got a speeding penalty. I guess Osmanoff's rear bumper kind of helped slow him down a little bit there as he's able to get back out and rolling. And it looks like as things stands now, I believe all these packs are going to be able to merge out back together.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be able to bridge to each other here. Great pit stop by Chris McCullough, John Mullahan, and the pair of PGR teammates, Westmoreland and Miller. Really excellent execution from those. And Baker and Lee are kind of hung in no man's land here. They're waiting on some help from the group led by David Sheets that contains the rest of the field. They're all going to kind of have to get worked back together, and this is going to help. 2 wide up front. Mullahan and McCullough decide to go up, and now there's all kinds of disorganization. Brock Westmoreland threw a block, and Mullahan went back to the middle. My goodness, they had a big lead, and it evaporates here. That was a big mistake there by these front 4.
Big mistake and a big moment indeed, man. That was a close call as we hit 20 laps to go here at Talladega Superspeedway. Now still expecting one more pit stop. These guys can't make it 20 laps on fuel, but certainly opens it up for some strategy now. Do you want to go short? Do you want to go long? Or something in between? Boy, McCullough Motorsports, did this work out for them or what? I mean, look at this. 5 cars. In fact, all 5 cars that they've got in the field here tonight going to get lined up. They're going to get 3 of them down to the bottom of the racetrack. Mark Vondell looks like he's going to stay high for now. Ken McCullough Jr. pushing the 59 machine. And up top, Matthew Baker now going to have to lay some bumper to the back of John Mullahan as he jumps up in line. Matthew Lee there as well. Before Brock Westmoreland, after all that chaos just a lap ago, still gets pretty good turnout as he's going to sit 3rd on the bottom. And boy, another close moment. You can tell that some of the patience level is starting to run out here, Dawson.
Big head of steam outside line. Michael Triscaro was shot out of a cannon here through the tri-oval. He's got Jeff Merck all over his back bumper, and on cue, up comes Matthew Baker. He wants the 3rd lane, and they're going to bring Nash Brambilla along with him. Well, he thought about it. He was straddling. Look at the run this outside line's got. Halfway down the super stretch and back to 3 wide. New leader going to be in turn number 3, Matthew Baker in the number 5.
And we're looking from the spotter view here, and you see all the pushing that happens on the straights, but not in the corners. Again, everybody been really kind of docile about trying it here tonight, but you want to get close, and You know, I think, honestly, the battle, Dawson, is who can push the soonest on exit of the corner. Usually the higher up you are on the racetrack, the quicker you can do it. And we saw that right there between Michael Triscaro and Matthew Baker. But now they get a little bit of separation coming through the tri-oval. And as they get uneven, the bottom started to roll not for long. Triscaro got it back lined up. And now he's going to push Matthew Baker clear. New leader here at Talladega.
I mean, that was a huge run up on the outside that they sustained for really most of a lap. Now, I have to see if they can get that energy back. Here as they come onto the backstretch one more time. Merck did an excellent job getting Triscaro there. Now, they do have Nash Granvilla with them. J.R. Miller had started to transition up the racetrack. I think he wants to jump up there as well. Can't quite get the job done right now. And now you see that outside line start to fade again. Baker to the lead, Mullahan to second. They're going to need, I think, one more car up on that top line to get it to work right now, though. They start to fade backwards here on turn number 4. And Matthew Baker's got a rearview mirror full of McCullough Motorsports.
Pit window is set to open, by the way, in about, we'll call it 2 laps. Again, if you want to play it safe, I'm thinking maybe more 4 laps or so that you've got enough fuel for some overtimes if we were to need them. But 3 wide further back, and I don't see that third lane really going anywhere as it stands at the moment. Michael Triscaro, he's going to abandon ship as he jumps down. Mark Blondell is going to have to fall to the back before he'll jump in line as well. And, you know, we saw it on that last pit stop, Dawson. Jeff Merck had to send it in a lot deeper than everybody else, and it worked out. He was able to get in clean, and as a result, he was able to keep the draft. So a nice job there by Jeff Merck. But that's the risk versus reward you run. And, you know, I know a lot of people think that it's just hammer down, full throttle the whole way around this racetrack, which, especially towards the end, it probably is. But I'm telling you, even through pit cycles, you can make up some ground. In that case, Merck, who was almost a second back, got that time back through just a pit entry, and as a result, he still finds himself with a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if he was going to be able to make up that time, and he certainly did not disappoint in the entertainment factor of watching him pull right back up to the back bumper of those guys. Excellent execution. That's what you need to have in these races. Made sure not to slide the tires, not to speed on entry. Really great stuff from Merck. He's been one of the better cars on the racetrack here tonight, and he's in a good spot. He wants to go 3 wide. You can tell how racy the 60 is. They're just going to need a little bit more help as they come onto the back straightaway one more time. Now Nash Granvilla starts to pull back up. That's the 3 cars we saw up there earlier. We'll see if they take another shot at it. Mullahan in the lead, but not for long. Here comes the 0-4 of Matt Lee to the point.
Well, the good news for Jeff Merck is that if he wants to get racy, he's got a pretty good partner to draft with behind him there, Michael Triscaro. We know how aggressive Logan York likes to be, so wouldn't be surprised if he made a move either. But, you know, in hindsight, Dawson, looking at this front pack as it stands right now, Ken McCullough Jr., the last car in this lead pack, the 23, is the lapper of Jason Kelly. And so only 13 cars, top 5 payout. If you're in this lead pack right now, you've already got a pretty good chance. And I got to expect that through this next pit cycle and this final stop, that we're going to maybe cycle out even a couple more. So Trevor Osnoff, who leads this second group, they are currently 16 seconds behind. A couple more of the rookies, along with Tucker McClendon, Jimmy Emos, and then the 8 machine of Steve Sizemore, all in this pack, trying to make up some time. But, you know, 16 seconds back with only 15 laps to go. That's a second a lap. I just don't see it happening without a caution for that group.
Yeah, this front group's going too fast, running too good a lap times. That second group really losing time in a hurry, so they're not even gaining a second a lap, and they're not even gaining anything at all. So not a lot of hope for that second group to make up any time. But I'll tell you what, we had talked about the window opening for this first group to pit. I mean, we said about 14 laps to go. They show no indication here that they're going to short pit this run. Still 6 rows of 2x2 tells me these guys might stay racy and run the tank out. Interesting decision, but again, you'll be taking less fuel doing that, I guess, is the thought process. And we saw that late pitting group on the last 2 cycles really benefit from doing so.
Similar to a game of cat and mouse, you go first. No, you go first. Question is going to be, who indeed is the first group to go down to the pits? Jason Maines, he's going to lose a lap as they all go by. A couple guys that are going to need a caution, including that one car there. But I want to go back to the point I was talking about earlier that we didn't get to finish, which was what payouts were looking like here tonight. $144 to first, $90 to second, $81 to third, $67.50 to fourth and fifth. And again, those payouts pretty close to accurate tonight, maybe just a little bit less as we came in 2 drivers short of what the flyer was expecting. But and I know we talked about the championship points in the scenario of getting yourself paid not once but twice at the end of the season if you're the regular season champ. And then, of course, you win the championship race. And we had the round of 16 last season from what I've heard, Dawson, and we haven't looked too much at the schedule yet. We'll focus more on it next week. There's a couple more playoff races, and so it's going to give guys a chance to be a little bit more smooth with the racing, not quite as much desperation. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think that's probably a good thing. I think it's going to lead to the cleaner racing, which we've seen tonight. I mean, up to this point, only one caution. It was for the stage break, so everybody's been doing a phenomenal job up to this point, and hoping that we can keep it that way for the next 13 laps.
Yeah, a couple more playoff races is indeed the case. And just a little sneak peek preview that I wanted to point out with 13 laps to go, still Mullahan Lee on the front row. Little couple of tidbits that I want to point out. 2 trips to Atlanta this season. I love Atlanta, especially in this car. Can't wait for that. We'll get more into that schedule next week. But a little tidbit for you there with 12 laps to go.
Yeah, I certainly love commentating Atlanta as well. Provides the same side-by-side racing, but a little bit more tricky, especially if we're in the Xfinity cars. We'll find out again more on that in the coming weeks. But right now up front, John Mullahan and Matt Lee leading the way here at Talladega. Logan York second on the outside. Matthew Baker now the lead pusher on the inside. Christopher McCullough, Michael Triscaro. And, you know, we know, Dawson, of course, that they can't make it all the way, but they can probably make it close, if I had to guess, to maybe 4 or 5 laps to go in this race. And so it does seem a little contradictory to me for them to wait that long, but certainly an option, as you noted. Again, no indication of pit stops just yet. But we're going to be coming to 11 laps to go this time, so I don't know if we'll necessarily see a third lane get rolling again, but wouldn't be surprised if we see the side-by-side continue for the next couple laps before it starts to dwindle out. As again, we think everybody's going to try to get to the bottom, of course, before that final stop, but a couple of guys in the field tonight, including Matt Lee, Michael Triscaro, proving that you can pit from the top if you have to.
Yeah, we saw a few guys try it on that first run, and it actually worked out okay for them. And I don't know if I recommend doing it a second time, but certainly a last ditch if they happen to need it. But other than that, yeah, you're right. I don't know if I'd wait that long. I thought the window was going to be closer to about 8 laps to go. We'll have to see when these guys have to actually pit. Man, middle lane has fallen apart. It's only Brambilla and York and Jason Kelly as Michael Triscaro bails and jumps up with Jeff Merck right as the McCullough group is coming to pit road with 11 laps to go.
And you can tell, we had one with a big moment there. Couldn't tell exactly what it was. Oh my goodness, they all overshoot it. Except for Brock Westmoreland, they all keep it on the racing surface, but Mullahan's got pretty major damage to his rear bumper. In fact, it's ripped off. So we'll have to go back and take a look at this one. I mean, the tires, they're shot at this point, Dawson, and as clean as the pit stops were all night, this is one where you're pushing more than anything to get in. And, you know, I think they tried to wait a little bit late, a couple of them trying to bail out. And Mullahan actually, he gets out of the throttle at a good time there, but, you know, him and Christopher McCullough, maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there as they choose the same lane. And at the same time, Christopher McCullough gets in a little bit too deep. He tags his teammate there, the 6, in the rear, and then Mullahan, that's how he loses a bumper, and then now everybody locking up trying to make it. Sheets goes in the grass, J.R. Miller goes in the grass, Christopher McCullough, Mark Vondell get together. It'll be really interesting to see how many of these guys got out of the pits without a penalty. Looks like right now it's going to only be 2 of them, and it's Mullahan and Ken McCullough Jr., Sheets, Miller, Westmoreland, Vondell, Christopher McCullough, Jason Kelly, all with penalties, or excuse me, not Kelly, but McCullough, all with penalties. And man, if you're the front group now and you know that, you are coasting it in and you are taking it as easy as possible, because it looks like after this, Dawson, it's only going to be about a 9-car race.
Yeah, if that. I'm curious to see how many cars are even going to be in the race, because Kenny McCullough and John Mullahan just are not going to run good enough lap times as 2 cars to be able to make it happen. Only 6 lead lap cars in this group here at the front. Lee, Baker, York, Brambilla, Merck, and Triscaro is your top 6, and they continue to put time on the Trevor Osmanoff contention, and if they continue to do that, man, 6 cars for top 5 payouts, that's a lot better prospects than 6 out of 13 or 5 out of 13. And we'll have to see again what this dynamic is like on this last pit stop, how hard they decide to take it, because now, I mean, the group that should be really paying attention to this next group to pit is Osmanoff, Schwindenhammer, Tucker McLennan, and Steve Sizemore, because if we have that kind of exchange again, they may come out in the catbird seat.
Here we go. We're going to see pit stops from that second pack. We'll see if they're able to get in a little bit cleaner than the first group was. And looks like Trevor Osmanoff does. Sizemore with a big lockup. The back end slides out, but again, he's able to gather it back up. And so 3 cars pit from that second group. So still waiting on pit stops from a couple of others here, including that lead pack, which right now, as they run, going to be coming out of turn number 4. We'll see if they bring it down this time. This was your prediction, Dawson, right around 8 laps. No, they're going to stay out yet again. So I think they knew something, Dawson, with that first group having trouble, because, as you noted, they're going to run a lot faster than Mullahan and Ken McCullough Jr. So at this point, this is just separating themselves from those 2, so that when they come out, it's all about a race for the top 5. And as you noted, only one person going to be the odd man out. And at this rate, I don't know if you'd want to be Logan York, because you've got 2 PGR teammates separating you, and then, of course, you got 3 of the NBG teammates in this group as well. And if they all come out like that, it's going to be a tough break for the 02 to try to gain any positions.
Well, the question is going to be, how much do you want to win? How much do you value a win when it comes down to it in terms of Tuesday Night Thunder? So we'll have to see if these guys want to go for a win, if these guys want to stick with their teammates. Well, let's see what their motivations are, but that'll all come after a pit stop. I said last time, it's going to be this time for Brambilla, but it's only Nash Brambilla that comes to pit road. And now all of a sudden it's 5 cars for 5 spots.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for Brambilla there. I got to think that he was hoping that at least Michael Triscaro was going to come in his teammate, but Triscaro chooses to stay out, and so this is going to be interesting. By the way, I just realized on the board there, on the scoring tower, P's next to the names, that is actually left on there from last season. That looks like it was entered in league manually, so apologize that those are up there. Those are not indicative of anything right now. You will see those, of course, once we actually get to the playoffs, but just showing you some of the drivers that we had in the playoff picture last season as Nash Brambilla works his way off the pits. And boy, I tell you what, Dawson, he really needs this group to pit this time. If they don't pit right here, I think Brambilla is going to be out of this mix as well.
Yeah, he pit by himself. That's usually a death sentence in these kinds of races. Last of the 5 cars will come this time by. They're going awfully hot on entry, though. This is going to be really close. Lockup from Logan York really locks the rear tires. Lee does as well. He's awfully close on the pit speed. We'll have to see if anybody got a penalty on that one, but it looks good so far from the last group of 5.
Certainly does, and now 6 laps to go. Again, it's going to be 5 laps to go once they cross the stripe this time. And as we bring up the track map to try to give you a general idea, there's Trevor Oswornoth in 9th, and then wonder if they tried a little bit of strategy here. Or no, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Nope, Trevor Oswornoth currently in 9th. We saw him come down to the pits. And so interestingly enough, to see him still out right now, maybe went for a caution. I'm not sure what happened here. I believe it was him we saw come down to the pits, unless I may have missed something. I may have got that confused from a last stop. And certainly no way that Trevor would be able to make it right now. So maybe he didn't. I'm not sure what it's got me mixed up for, but up front now, Matt Lee, Logan York still being scored as your leaders here. It looks like Oswornoth actually, still further back, so I apologize. I just got that all mixed up there for a moment. It is Matt Lee who, again, does come out as your leader. Logan York comes out 2nd, and they did get away a little bit, but not enough to where it's going to matter. The big story out of that sequence is Nash Brambilla. He lost the draft, and so now all of these guys, they are guaranteed a payout. So now what do you do, Dawson? You're guaranteed money as long as you don't wreck, but the further up you go, the more money you can make. How aggressive do you be here in these last 4 laps?
And not just that, remember the rule's still in place from last season. If you win, you are in. As long as you make 8 races in the regular season, you're eligible for the playoffs. Team boundaries, well, they come down to it here when we get down to the white flag. How much do team orders come into play, perhaps, as compared to your want to win? I know several of these guys in this pack really would love to go to victory lane, none more so than the guy running P2, Jeff Merck. How much does he desire to win with 4 laps to go?
Well, I was going to say, if we're doing team orders here, I think we got to let Jeff Merck for NBG get the win, at least if you're that team, because we know the bad luck that he seems to get at these super speedways. And boy, if he could get himself locked in tonight, that would be a big win for the 60 and, of course, NBG in general. But Matthew Baker, he's not giving this thing up at this point. He is saying, I'm all for myself, and Jeff Merck proving that that's the case as he now jumps to the outside of his teammate Michael Triscaro, Logan York, the 2 pushers. And, I don't really know what else the 34 or the 02 can do. It's basically NBG versus these two. Now you got a couple lappers there, Jason Maines, Mark Vondell. The question is, how big of a role do they play in the finish of this race? As, again, they're battling for the lucky dogs amongst themselves. But up front, it is still Matthew Baker as they work through turn 1 and 2. 3 laps to go, 2.5 as they exit turn number 2.
Baker up to get Merck on the outside of the racetrack. He'll get a nice push from the 60 here down the Alabama Gang Super Stretch. And now all of a sudden it's 4 cars in the outside line of the 3 on the bottom. Matt Lee left with the lap cars of Jason Maines and Mark Vondell. Baker will drop back to the help of Matt Lee on the bottom in turn number 3. But now he gets those 3 cars back together up on the outside. Jeff Merck has Michael Triscaro with him. So many storylines in this front pack. Former winners in this series. Guys that want to win really bad. Notably those 3 on the top side. They all would love to win this race. And with 2 laps to go, they just are a little bit short. They're going to need a little bit more help up on the outside line.
Yeah, they certainly are. And as we do hit 2 laps to go, good time to remind you that this is the last lap for caution. If they make it to the white flag, this race will be official. Doesn't matter if they wreck after that. So as they stay 2x2 up front, quick peek further back. All the packs looking pretty single file organized. A little bit of double file action still at the front. The point is, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that caution. Maybe not. A lot of aggressive racing up front between teammates. They bang doors. Matt Lee goes into the outside wall. Boy, that did not go according to plan as Lee is going to lose the pack. Baker now blocking for all he's worth as he gets back to the top line to cover Merck. Jason Maines, Mark Vondell on the bottom, 2 lappers. They are not the threat. The threat is still up top. Going to be coming to the white flag this time.
Well, now the question will be, with NBG teammates running 1-2, how much does Jeff Merck want to break this bad luck streak through the tri-oval for the final time without a caution? White flag, 1 lap to go in Tuesday Night Thunder race number 1. Logan York's not out of this. He's position number 4. Matt Lee, I don't think he's going to have anything to say about it. He's losing the draft. Does Logan York have anything for these guys? Off of 2, Logan York continues to lose ground. It may come down to these 3. Who wants it more? Baker leads. Merck is second. And Triscaro is third. 2 guys I know are itching to go to victory lane. Off to 3 they go. Who's going to get the job done?
Jason Maines, Mark Vondell, classy move. Get out of the way. They're going to leave this as a 3, maybe 4-car battle for the lead, but I don't think York's got enough to get all the way back up there in time, although it's going to be close. Off of 4, Merck tandemed up for now, but when does he make the move? Does Baker throw the block? Final time down the short chute into the tri-oval we come. Jeff Merck still tucked in line behind his teammate. Is he going to make a move? He's not. He'll stay in line. Matthew Baker is going to get the win in the first race of Season 4 for Tuesday Night Thunder. And Merck with a lot of loyalty there. You saw him duck out just at the end, but I think he knew what he was doing there, and he was just fine with pushing his teammate. But, you know, we did ask the question on if the teammates were going to help each other out. It certainly didn't look like it quite went that way there towards the end, of course, with Matt Lee and Matthew Baker. We'll go back and take a look at that here in just a moment, but Matthew Baker goes 1 for 1 start of the season, and as you noted, as long as he makes the other 8 races, he is going to be in. Winning, you're in, and he gets the job done. Good finish, of course, for Jeff Merck tonight, bringing home second. Michael Triscaro as well, as he finishes in that 3rd spot. So as Baker comes around here, do a little celebration, he'll burn it down. Gives us a good chance to take a look at what your finishing results are here for the night. All right, so again, bringing home the win, Matthew Baker. Actually, we'll pull these up in just a moment. Before we do that, I think I want to go back and look at this just pre-white flag incident, if you will, that happened between some of the NBG teammates with Matt Lee and Matthew Baker. It looked like maybe Jeff Merck as well, and the big question was just where did it all go wrong right here? Let's see here. You see Lee's going to jump out of line. That's where this whole thing starts. In fact, going to the chopper view is put the results away for just a moment. Watch Matt Lee here. He's got to run, and he currently sits second behind Baker. He's going to pull up the track. Baker goes to throw a block. The block's plenty in time. And then as Jeff Merck maybe gets him a little bit of a push initially here, does he get him a little offset? Doesn't look like Merck's ever making any contact right there. Yeah, Merck never touches him. Lee goes to go up a lane higher, Dawson, and then looks like Merck's trying to jump back to the inside here, but never touches him. And then once they split Matt Lee here in the middle, Lee honestly just drives down into the right rear of his teammate Baker. Lucky to not wreck Baker in the process there, but that's certainly a really interesting look right there. What do you make of that one, Dawson?
I'm not really sure. It's a block late in the race. I knew he was going to throw the first one, and I thought that one was fine. I don't think he needed to throw the second one, and then ended up with Lee in the outside wall. I think he probably could have hung where he was. I'm actually watching it for the first time again. Oh, man. Oh, weird look there on the backstretch, at least from my perspective. Man, I don't know if you mentioned it already. I was trying to watch it myself, but Matt Lee, does he turn left a little bit there on the middle of the backstretch? I'm not saying he's trying to intentionally do anything there, but certainly an interesting look off the front bumper of Matt Lee. Man, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were looking at, and I think the best insight we can get is from Matthew Baker because, part of me was wondering, and this is what we'll give it credit for initially here, I think he was maybe just going down for a side draft, but again, these cars a little bit more floaty, and I think maybe he just misjudged it. So, again, we'll have a better idea on that once we're able to talk to Matthew Baker here in just a moment. So with that, let's go see if we can go over your finishing results here on the night. Matthew Baker, he gets the win here tonight. Back in second, it's his teammate Jeff Merck. That puts NBG 1-2. Michael Triscaro finishes third. It's Logan York in fourth. Matt Lee fifth. Ken McCullough Jr. in sixth. Nash Miller back in seventh. John Mullahan eighth. William Schwindenhammer in ninth. And David Drohan rounding out your top 10.
Trevor Osmernoth finishes 11th tonight with Chris McCullough in 12th. It's Brock Westmoreland in 13th. David Sheets 14th. Steve Sizemore finishes 15th tonight. Mark Mondell in 16th. Jason Kelly finishes 17th. J.R. Miller in 18th. Jamie Emos in 19th. Jason Maines 20th. Tucker McClendon finishes 21st. Jared Haynes in 22nd. And Tony Cox, unfortunately unable to make the grid, will be credited with 23rd finishing position tonight.
All right, we're going to go get your top three in here for interviews if we can find them. Stick with us. We will be right back here at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Going to start first tonight with your third place finisher, Michael Triscaro. Dawson Wise stands by with him.
Hey, Mike, it's the boys up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do, man. How's it going?
Well, it's going great. I can't imagine it's going any better than you're going right now. Great run for you tonight. A third place finish. We saw you be really aggressive throughout the race. Take us through the game plan. What was the strategy tonight? You and the PGR boys really looked sporty at times in this race. Really took it to those boys early.
Absolutely, man. Well, first of all, thanks to Ron Morris Racing, Ron Morris himself. Tuesday Night Thunder. This is my favorite series right here. You get a lot of pit stops, so the strategies are to, nail it on those green flag stops, and that was the big difference tonight, man. We were able to get on pit road, get in the pit stall, get off pit road faster than anybody else, and that ended up being the difference in the race. So it's kind of just strategy there in the middle was just to ride and keep the car clean. And, get to those green flag stops because, in my opinion, I'm just as fast as the top guys, and that showed the night.
Well, it definitely did. A great, consistent run for you. The last sequence, you see the field dwindled down. What else could you have done on that last sequence right there to maybe get to victory lane tonight?
Nothing really there. Not enough cars pushing there. I know Jason was, a lap or two down, and I think Mark Vondell as well. So it was like a four-car race once Matt Lee got turned there. So it's just not enough momentum to carry to pass anybody. Maybe Merck could back up to me a little bit, and we can make the pass. But at the end of the day, we're all content there riding, get those points and get in the payout position. Don't want to lose that for sure, especially being in a drought that I was in, man. Now I could breathe a little bit and try to go get that win next week.
Well, absolutely. Well, I will ask you really quick. First broadcast tonight here on the PGR eSports Network. It's a big night for all of us. So, take a second, comment on that, comment how you're feeling about it. It was a great race tonight to start up this new era for us. Take us through, your thought process on that going into tonight.
Yeah, man, it means a lot to me to have you and Austin on board with, this whole entire project. I caught the very, very beginning, so I'm super excited to go kind of watch that, check out some of the graphics. And, this thing's been building for a while. And, I might have started PGR, but I always tell everybody, and you guys see me posting all the time and well thought out messages to everybody, that this is about the entire community. And without every single driver and every single broadcaster and race controller, PGR eSports is nothing. So I'm just a guy that, enjoys this iRacing stuff. It's a hobby of mine. I got a couple businesses. I always mention those all the time. And, I treat this as a business, and I want to grow PGR eSports into being something super big. And I think that's going to benefit not only PGR, but all the promotions that Money Race. That's the platform I'm building, or we're building, I should say. And like I said, thank you to you guys and Baker especially. We're gonna take this thing to a whole different stratosphere, man. We're gonna run a couple massive events, and keep drawing these big dogs to come race with us. Some of the Coke Series drivers, and the sky's the limit now, man. All I can do is keep working hard and get everything out there for everybody to see. And hopefully, in a year from now, man, we're the show. So.
Well, a great start to it tonight. A great race here tonight in Talladega, and a great effort for you. A third-place finish on the podium tonight to start Tuesday Night Thunder Season 4. So before we let you go and celebrate that third-place effort, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Oh, absolutely, man. I want to thank Baker and Merck. Kind of sat in with those guys tonight a little bit. let my PGR boys do their thing. They've been kicking some butt without me. So nice for me. It's almost like that Dale Earnhardt, when he owned owned DEI, but was driving for Childress. He got to watch his, son race on the same track as him. So kind of was fun tonight being up front and watching Brock and JR and Nash coming through the field, and just the seeds that I planted, and those guys followed suit. Those guys are a couple of them are OGs, man, and it means the world to me to see the PGR emblem on their car and how good of drivers they become. Those guys don't need me. They don't need anybody. They are a freaking great team, and can't wait to sit in with them Thursday night and try to go get that elusive PGR victory.
Well, we can't wait to see it ourselves. Congratulations on the third place ever. Fantastic run for you to start the season, and we will see you on Thursday night, but then again next week.
Thank you.
All right, and now that's going to bring us to your second place finisher here on the night. NBG goes 1-2, and Jeff Merck is the man that comes home second. Jeff, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy.
Hey, what's up, Austin?
Well, a good finish there at the end. You bring home second in the first race of the season. Looked like maybe you gave it a thought right there at the last second, but overall looked like you were committed to helping your teammate there at the end once you guys got lined back up. But, overall, you had a couple of big moments in the race, and I think the turning point was when you lost the pack after that big save. You had to dive into pit road as hard as you could, it looked like, in order to make it back up to the field. It worked out, and you bring home a second-place finish. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, compared to where I'd normally finish in the infield care center, this was a great race. Usually I go back and watch the replay and I hear, oh, that's just Merck again. Oh, yeah, well, they're true. So, I got a stage win. Really good points tonight. I think I'm probably in the points lead. I think I led the most laps. Got the stage win. Finished P2. If I would have had a poor points night, I might have tried a little harder to get in front of Baker there. But I said, well, if I just push here, I'm probably points lead and still get a good payout. So that was kind of my strategy.
Well, a good strategy to wrap things up tonight. But, back in the Xfinity cars, we don't see this in too many of the other money racing series. Of course, we've seen you run Tuesday Night Thunder before. But overall, how do you feel about this car, and how do you feel about your chances the rest of the season?
Yeah, I like the car. I like the push package can get a little swirly sometimes. But it seemed to perform good tonight. The NBG Blue Angels blue and gold scheme seemed to be real fast tonight. Got a lot of good pushes from my teammates. Got a damn great push from JR Miller there coming to the stage. Got me the stage win, so I got to thank him for that push up in the third line. He was pushing his tail off there, and we got the stage win.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you head out tonight to go celebrate your second place finish, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, first and foremost, my loving wife inside watching the race. I love you. Thanks for letting me do this as my hobby. All my MBG teammates, Matt Baker, my PGR, what the hell is it? eSports teammate, Michael Triscaro. He wouldn't run. He's not technically an NBG member, but he is a NBG by proxy. So got to thank him. The Navy and all the people that serve our great country, and you guys up there in the booth on PGR eSports.
Well, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the second place finish, and we'll see you out here next week.
All right, thanks, bud.
And the man who is now already just one race in, got himself locked in, Matthew Baker. Baker, this is Austin in the booth. Got a copy.
Yeah, I got you, Austin.
Well, the first question we got is the question that we're trying to figure out for ourselves is, what in the world happened there coming to the white flag between you and Matt Lee? Was it anything intentional there, or was it just some hard racing and maybe something gone wrong?
No, Matt talked about it. He said he got, once I went up to block him, he stepped out to go 3, and then Merck went to the inside, and that got Matt kind of offset and touched me a little bit, and that shot him up the track, and he just couldn't catch up to the wheel and came back down into me. Glad we were able to all save it. No, all 5 of us are in a money position, but I'm trying to get locked into the playoffs, so I'm gonna block everything I can. If Merck pulls out there, I'm probably blocking him off of the tri-oval too, because trying to just lock in and get ready for the championship. I know that I would like to get another championship under my belt, and it's a good start to it.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now that you've got the win, you're locked in. Of course, still would like to get a couple more wins the rest of the way. But now, do you act more as a team player, or do you just continue to stay aggressive and try to bring home the biggest payouts possible?
I like, we run team and we all communicate really well. Michael did a great job tonight. Michael and Merck did. And Matt was doing good too. He wasn't with us, but he was definitely helping us through the pit stops. Mollahan also doing a great job as well up front there. But I think I just keep the foot on the pedal like I do every year, and just try and lead as many laps as I can. Put my Xfinity car in the best position that I can to try and win the race, try and get as many points as I can, because I pride myself on being a good points racer. I may not win all the races, but I feel like I finish up front a lot. But yeah, definitely going to be pushing Mike and Merck there, returning the favor to Merck next week, hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, you prevailed through the chaos tonight, through the sickness, to bring home your first win. So, before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thanks to Coasting Thunder, MBG Motorsports, Baker & Son Construction, Martin Sports. Thanks to Triscaro. Ran a really good race. Had a mess up on a pit stop, and he ran an excellent race for sure. Merck ran an excellent race. It's nice to see him not have the bad luck bug bite him anymore. And to get MBG in there for 1-2 is pretty awesome. That stage finish was also a really cool finish that we had. I know we got spread out on the pit stops in the back half, but if we can keep putting products on like this every Tuesday night, I think this channel is going to blow up for sure, and we're going to get a lot more racers on Tuesday night for this series.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for talking to us tonight. Again, congrats on the winner on the first race of the season, and now locked into the playoffs. We will see you out here next week.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, Matthew Baker. And with that, that's just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight from the PGR eSports YouTube channel. Again, if you're new here, make sure that you do hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed it tonight. But overall, in terms of the race, Dawson, I thought it was phenomenal. Baker mentioned it there. The stage break finish was a photo finish, and then the end of the race, we had a pretty good finish there. A little bit of chaos throughout, but only one caution tonight in 60 laps. Hoping to see more of the same next week.
Well, yeah, and that one caution was the stage caution. So, how about that? When it comes down to it, clean racing, but intense racing, really great stuff all throughout the field. I mean, that first stage was some of the best racing we've seen on Tuesday nights in a long time. These guys haven't missed a beat. They're ready to go racing for another season. Great first races in the books. Matthew Baker gets the job done. Great finish tonight for MBG. And again, you can't help but notice. How about Jeff Merck tonight?
Absolutely. Well, that's going to finish things off for our coverage here tonight. That's it for me, Austin Green and Dawson Wise here on PGR eSports. I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, have a good night.